Everyone's got a prediction for Seattle real estate in 2026. The real problem is that most people are dead wrong. You've heard people say that tech layoffs are going to crash the market. You've heard other people say that bidding wars, they're coming back. Let me tell you what's actually happening with data, and it tells a completely different story. It will help you decide what you want to do this year. In the next 8 minutes, you'll see the realities that nobody's talking about, a few myths that are costing you real money, and exactly what to do if you're thinking about buying or selling or even investing in 2026. If you're new here, I'm Jason Mesnick. I don't hype anything up or try to scare anyone. I just focus on real data. And I've been tracking every single metric in this entire market. How many homes are on the market, how long a home is on the market before it sells, and price cuts. Because in a market that seems really confusing, the only way to make a good decision is to know what's actually happening from somebody who does this every single day. And I'm going to prove every single thing I say with numbers so you can check them if you want to. Let's start with what 2025 taught us. 2025 was the year that the Seattle market gaslit everyone. And here's what the data actually shows. First, inventory of homes on the market didn't just rise, it actually exploded. The Seattle area saw a 50 to 100% increase on active homes in the market at various points in 2025. And in some Eastside areas, active listings more than doubled. Kirkland alone saw listings jump almost 60% from 2024 to 2025. But here's what nobody told you. Prices didn't collapse, they barely moved. The Seattle median home prices stayed in the low 800s. Bellevue held up around 1.7 million, up 6% from 2024, and Kirkland values stayed around the low 1.2 million range. What this means to me is that the increase in inventory didn't create a magical buyer's paradise. It created a window where buyers could finally negotiate. And so many people missed this opportunity because they were waiting for a crash that never came. Second, if you were selling your home and it sat on the market for longer than a couple of weeks, it did not signal disaster. It actually made our market really, really normal. Homes in Seattle were taking about 3 weeks to sell, with a couple of months supply of inventory at any given time. But on the east side, homes were taking closer to a month to sell. The only reason it felt weird or slow is because we got addicted to the insanity of the COVID years, when homes sold in 3 days with 10 or more offers. Third, the rental market called complete BS on the crash headlines. While everyone was obsessed with home prices, the Seattle apartment occupancy stayed around 95%, with rents going up around 2 or 3%. Bellevue home rentals were around $4,500 a month for a typical 3-bedroom home. It just means demand didn't disappear. It just shifted because people still need to live here. Fourth, the tech layoffs didn't kill the market. Yes, tech layoffs since 2022 shrunk the amount of high-income homebuyers temporarily, and office vacancies near downtown Seattle and near Amazon definitely took a hit. But even the doomsayers missed that AI jobs were expanding locally and relocation picked back up. The job market didn't collapse, it just changed, and that created an uneven demand in certain neighborhoods. Any neighborhood near dead office space was really soft, but the neighborhoods with good schools, good transit, and the lifestyle of walking were still really strong. And that's what happened in 2025. Now let's talk about 5 things that will define 2026. First, mortgage rates will settle in the high 5s or low 6% range, and that's actually a good thing. Experts agree on all of this. The days of 3% interest rates are gone, but that 7 or 8% panic is completely over. What that means for your payment in 2026 is that if you're buying this year, your payment is already $200 or $300 less than somebody who bought last year. If you're waiting for interest rates to drop back down to 4%, you'll be waiting forever while prices keep climbing up. Second, the inventory of homes on the market will stay higher, but the growth will slow down a lot. Like I said, 2025 had a huge surge in homes on the market, but in 2026, the inventory will plateau. With that being said, we still have 30 to 60% more homes available than during the pandemic insanity. That means buyers have choices and sellers have competition. The days of list it and get 20 offers are completely over for now. Third, price growth will be pretty flat or in the low single digits, even in Seattle or on the east side, and that's not a bad thing either. But here's what nobody's telling you. Flat prices with elevated inventory is the best possible scenario for a strategic buyer. You get choice, you get negotiation power, and you get time to think. Our market has averaged 5 to 7% annual growth for a long time, so flat years are a good buying opportunity. Fourth, the market will be hyper-local, meaning neighborhoods matter more than ever. Tech jobs and hybrid work are creating a massive difference between neighborhoods. Some areas are softening, while other areas are really heating up. The data showed last year that almost half the Eastside homes are requiring price cuts before they actually sell, but the other half are still selling at or above the list price. I know this is obvious, but knowing a specific neighborhood's days on market and price, even price cuts, is really important. And number 5, the rental market will stay tight because occupancy is still in the mid 90% range and new construction is slowing. To say this another way, rent will keep on climbing. A $4,500 per month rental in today is a $4,700 per month rental next year. This matters because every month you're waiting to buy, you're not just paying rent, you're actually paying somebody else's mortgage. Now let's address a few myths. The first myth is that the crash is coming. I know I already mentioned that prices held steady, but realistically, markets don't crash when inventory is rising and prices are holding. Things will normalize this year and they are not falling apart. The second myth is that bidding wars are over. As I mentioned, over half the Eastside homes are still selling at or above list price. In Bellevue, homes that are priced well and in good locations are still selling with many offers. Bidding wars aren't over, they're just happening on selective houses. They're really only happening on turnkey homes in great locations that are priced right. They're not happening on overpriced dated homes. That's not a crash, it's just a mature market. Myth number 3, you need 20% down and perfect credit to buy a house. With inventory up and homes staying on the market longer, sellers are more willing to negotiate on most things like price and other contingencies. A well-qualified buyer with 10 or 15% down and a strong pre-approval is still in a great spot. Now let's talk about what to do if you're buying or selling in 2026. If you're buying, please stop waiting for 4% interest rates. Lock in the high 5s or low 6s and refinance when you can. Every year you wait, it costs you $50,000 or $100,000 in equity and rent payments. Focus on location, specifically neighborhoods with strong fundamentals, good schools, transit, and walkability. Next, use the increased inventory to your advantage. With more homes on the market, you can negotiate price, repairs, anything else, but be ready to move fast on the good ones because they still sell quickly. Lastly, please get pre-approved and know your numbers. In a balanced market, preparation helps, and if you need a good mortgage professional, just shoot me a text. If you are selling, this is your must, and I mean must. Price to the current market, not what your neighbor sold in 2022. As I said before, with almost half the homes requiring price cuts, overpricing is suicide. I know this one is obvious, but condition matters again. People have choices, and buyers don't have to settle anymore. Invest in paint, flooring, staging, or whatever your home needs. A really good strategy is more important than ever. Hitting the market at the right time, a good marketing plan, and a pricing strategy will determine whether you sell in 5 days or 90 days. If you're investing, the rental market is your safety net. With a 95% occupancy and rents rising, a $1.2 million home in Kirkland is renting for about $4,500 a month. That's a 4.5% gross yield. Not amazing, but stable and appreciating. Condos on the East Side are a dark horse. Sales are healthier than people realize because first-time home buyers and downsizers are driving real demand. Here's the bottom line about 2026. It's not a crash, it's just way more normal. Please don't believe the hype. If you're buying in 2026, get pre-approved, know your neighborhoods, and stop waiting for perfection. If you're selling this year, price it right, present it well, and make sure you have a really good strategy. If you're investing, the rental market is still tight, but the fundamentals are still strong. If you want to talk about your specific situation, shoot me a text, a call, or an email. I really hope this helped you see what's happening in our market right now. Subscribe and drop a comment with your biggest questions about 2026. I read every single one of them. Thanks for watching and see you somewhere around Seattle.